Hello and welcome to Insider Focus and what has been a fast and furious transfer window, and we go again. It's continuing now, it's really picking up pace. I've said before in other videos, end of this month, beginning of July are going to be when the window goes boom, and we are starting to see that not only round Europe and England but in Scotland too, because Rangers window is picking up, and it's today I'm going to look at Rangers as they have close to completing a deal at the time of recording, all but done for a striker, another bid in for another striker, a midfielder almost in as well, and a defender potentially out. Michael Beale's window has started with a bang, and we're going to talk about how he could make it even more explosive with a few more signings. Before we do that though, please make sure you hit like and subscribe, it really helps us out, and onward with the video. So Rangers obviously already added multiple players to their squad. Jack Butland has joined as the new #1 goalkeeper. His contract expired with Crystal Palace and Rangers snapped him up on a long-term deal as well. They've got Kieran Dowell coming in from Norwich City, a player that January signing Todd Cantwell was spoken very highly about. Had an injury niggle with an ankle issue that came in 2019, had an operation, and has missed games here and there, but still played a decent amount of games. He adds more bodies to that squad, especially in the middle of the park where Michael Beale demands so much energy from his players and rotation. They also have Europe to contest with next year as well, potential Champions League if they can get into the competition proper too. And then Dujon Sterling's joined as well, the right wing back from Chelsea. Michael Beale knew him from the youth system at Chelsea and has brought him into Rangers. Everywhere Dujon Sterling has gone, he has had really good reviews. Stoke wanted to keep him at the end of last season after their loan of him. They tried to get him on a deal, and so did Chelsea offer him an extension, but in the end he has chosen to go and play for Rangers, chosen to go and play for a 50,000 and perhaps play more first-team football and European football as well. And then of course, not to forget, Sam Lammers is also in the door, the striker from Atalanta, and a deal worth around £3.5 million. We knew that Rangers were going to spend money up front. We knew what they needed was firepower up front. You didn't need to be a director of football to know that, especially with the exit of long-time starting striker for Rangers, Alfredo Morelos. Rangers, of course, brought in the youngster Zakowski from Poland in January 2022. His move hasn't quite gone to plan. He went out on loan last season, I should say now, and it wasn't great for him, and that door still looks open for him to exit this summer. We're not sure whether it'll be a permanent deal, that we do really think that Rangers would be open to that, especially a loan though. That could happen again. He's still young. He could still improve yet. There's absolutely no doubt about it. There's still every possibility that he can get better. But of course, it's not quite worked out, and Rangers have great strength at full-back position. Obviously, you've got the captain Tavernier at right-back. You've got Sterling, who's arrived from Chelsea, as I spoke about. You've got Ridvan Yilmaz at left-back, and Borna Barisic is now in contract extension talks too. So it's all ongoing at Rangers in those positions. They're very, very well covered. We don't expect really any changes there, so it wouldn't surprise me if nothing happens for Zakowski and there's not room for him in that position. You can understand it. They also cemented Ryan Jack for another year. They gave him an extension and a contract. We weren't surprised about that. We expected Ryan Jack to stay. Michael Beale's spoken about his admiration of Ryan Jack, how much he brings to the team. We just were waiting for the length of the deal and how long it would be, and it's a year extension for Ryan Jack, which you will all well know by now, but I'm just recapping where we're at up to this point. But joining Ryan Jack in the centre of the park could be Jose Cifuentes. Rangers currently in talks with the LAFC over an early exit fee at the time of recording this, and something could happen in the next couple of hours. It's been that kind of window. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you'll be watching this about 5:30 when it's released. But they are in talks over an early exit fee. Personal terms agreed to. Rangers could sign him on a pre-contract in December this year, but obviously Michael Beale will be keen to bring him in for the pre-season, keen to bring him in for the start of the season so that he gets involved in the team and understands the system, etc. I will say this, I think Cifuentes would be a top signing for Rangers if they can get this over the line. We don't expect them to at this point. It's all pointing that he will be going to Govan, but this is a guy that was scouted heavily by Brighton, liked by Brighton a lot, and when Brighton's scouting team get involved, you know there's a player with talent there. They've got incredible recruitment there. Leeds United also had a look when they were in the Premier League. So they have Premier League interest in England, interest around Europe. He had multiple offers during this window on a pre-contract basis, but Rangers have pushed that through. And as Fabrizio Romano and others have all said as well, top signing for Glasgow Rangers if this all gets done. And we're about 99% there. And I would expect beginning of July, the next week, couple of days, you'll hear more about this, and Cifuentes will be a Rangers player, all going to plan for Michael Beale and the Rangers board, and he could be a top signing. But of course, no signings guaranteed. Have to say that. Of course, every signing can have their risk, but Cifuentes certainly comes with all the hallmarks of a top player for Michael Beale's side. There have been links to young striker Benny Traore, and certainly another one who would be an incredible signing for Rangers. He plays at Häcken. They know how good he is. 12 goals in 13 games, 20 years old already, and has been capped at Ivory Coast unders level, up to under 23 so far. So he's got a good pedigree on him for 20 years of age. Contracted till 2026 though, and Häcken are in a strong position. There's English interest in him. A lot of English clubs in the Championship, bottom of the English Premier League, have had a look at him as well. Interest around Europe. So a big battle on for his signature. Rangers have been in about it, absolutely. They've had a look, had some discussions. We'll wait and see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I think Traore would be a fantastic signing for whoever gets him, because he's got all the potential to have that sell-on value that a lot of clubs are now looking for, unless you're owned by a sheikh or by a multi-billionaire. It's certainly the way that most clubs run now, is that sell-on value, and Traore's got all the tick boxes of that sell-on value. Absolutely rapid, scores goals for fun so far in his career, and like I said, only 20 years old. If Rangers get this across the line, like I said, would be a top deal. But a lot of clubs interested in this, and it's one to keep an eye on over the coming weeks. They're obviously in talks over other strikers. Maybe that points you in the direction of where they're heading with that. But certainly one to watch out for. And I'm sure if Rangers get the nod that they can get him, they will absolutely move for him, because we know that they have had strong interest in him. Another player that they've had a bid in for but not quite yet got over the line due to the club's being a part-in fee is Danilo at Feyenoord. The Brazilian striker who came up through the Corinthians youth system will be known by Michael Beale, who obviously worked in Brazil for a number of years, kept tabs on that country and understands the good players out there. This is a target that he really, really wants, would be seen as a top signing by the club if they can pull it off. But sources in Holland tell us that the fee is apart. Club's understanding of the fee is apart at this point in time. I'm sure negotiations will continue on that. He scored 10 goals in 34 games for Feyenoord last season. And again, contracted till 2026, just like Traore was as well. Could be a deal for around the €7 million mark, which is quite a lot of money for Rangers if you're getting that £6 million. But like I said, the budget was going to go on up front. We always knew Rangers needed firepower. We always knew that they needed firepower, more strikers, more pace, something fresh and new up front. And even though they've got Antonio Kolak, whose future is right now up in the air, because even Michael Beale, even though he scored 18 goals for Rangers last season, Michael Beale still chose to use the outgoing Alfredo Morelos ahead of him, because Kolak is a box striker, isn't he? He's a guy that's the fox in the box and puts the ball in the back of the net, and Beale wants his strikers to do more than that in his system. He wants them to be part of the build-up and part of the team, and maybe Kolak doesn't offer that in his eyes, so we'll see what happens with his future. But Danilo would be a player that's got all the hallmarks of a top striker, can also play in that 10 position as well, just off the striker, which you've seen Rangers operate with the likes of Sakala and stuff last season, towards the end of last season. So we'll wait and see on that one. Will be an ongoing conversation. Rangers certainly in amongst it, certainly would like him. Talks have happened. One bid has been turned down by Feyenoord, but not over yet. We shall wait and see at this time whether Rangers can get a deal across the line for Danilo of Feyenoord. One player who's all but set to join though is Sima from Brighton. Loan deal set to come in. That's about 99% done. Everyone telling us now that this is set to happen. Our understanding is he is agreed to the move, looking forward to it. Again, the prospect of playing in Europe, the prospect of playing at Ibrox, the prospect of playing in front of 50,000 at a big club, and perhaps a fresh start for him as well, because since joining Brighton it's not quite gone to plan. He's been on loan at Stoke City and then on loan at Angers last season as well. Had his injury issues, which have perhaps put the back burner on his development a little bit, but Rangers will certainly be hoping to get the best out of him. He's only 22 years old as well, contracted with Brighton until 2025, but Rangers looking set to bring him in. A player that has played in multiple positions as well, played on the right hand side, up front, left hand side. He's played across the three, which is something Beale likes. We know he likes rotation as well, with those wingers coming in. Certainly could again offer that kind of false nine, sometimes two up front. So he's looking for lots of bodies to be able to do that, and Sima does tick those boxes, like Danilo, like Traore, although Traore has been more up front at this point in time. So Rangers looking busy, and with Sima set to arrive and Lammer's already there, Then, like I spoke about with Butland and Sterling and Dowell already in the side too, it's been a busy summer and it's set to continue. We knew that there would be at least 10 players coming in this window. Rangers are about to make it 5. Surely will be 6, 7, and we'll see how the window carries on. But Rangers fans, let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this enough to stop Celtic? Because this recruitment has to be right for Rangers this year. Michael Beale, backed up by Bennett and others in the board, has been leading the charge since Ross Wilson's exit to Nottingham Forest, but they can't really afford to get it wrong, can they? Celtic have re-employed Brendan Rodgers. They've got a big budget to spend. Celtic will have a good late window. That's what we're hearing. Just wait towards the end of July, beginning of August, you'll start to see Celtic really move in the window and bring in some players too. They might even lose key men, but they've got the budget behind them to strengthen again and bring more in. And that's where Rangers fans might have concerns, because you need to get the signings right. Michael Beale knows that. That's the key to these things. It's always the recruitment, right? And perhaps in recent years, Rangers have had too many players that haven't quite hit the mark, rather than others who have. What happens next season? It will be very interesting. Michael Beale versus Brendan Rodgers. 2 squads which will both have a lot of new players in it. Can Rangers stop Celtic from continuing their dominance of Scottish football? We shall wait and see. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.